Hi everyone, and welcome to eSchool.ng, your number one efficient school management platform.
Today I'm going to be sharing with you a 12-minute video on how to use our computer-based tests for your upcoming exams in your schools.
So the first thing you want to do is you want to log in as either the admin or a teacher of your school. So I'm going to be logging in as the admin of my school. So once I log in and I come down to my dashboard, I'll scroll down and see computer-based tests, right? So I'm going to click on computer-based tests. So once I click on computer-based tests, I would see add new tests, I would see manage tests, I would see add new questions, I would see manage questions, and I would see CBT results, right? So the first thing you want to do once you want to upload your questions into the portal and you want your student to take the exam, the test, or whatsoever, the first thing you need to do is you need to create a new test. So I'm going to click on add new test. So once I click on add new test, I would see add new test per questions, and I'll see add new test batch questions, and I'll see add new test from question pool. This particular feature is not available yet, but you can add new tests per questions and you can add new tests in batch questions. Adding new tests per question means you want to add these questions individually, but then adding new tests in batch questions means you want to download a particular Excel sheet and then upload your questions into the Excel sheet, right? Which I would recommend, since it is CBT and there are going to be questions being uploaded into the portal. I recommend you use the batch questions because it is much faster than adding the new test per questions. But if your questions are not many and you want to add them individually, you can decide to click on add new test per questions. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be clicking on batch questions, right? I'm going to click on add new test in batch questions. So once you click on this, you will see these fields that you need to fill, right? So I'm going to fill each of them. So the first thing you have is the test title. So let's say the test title is first term examination, right? Whatever your test title is, input it, right? So the next thing you want to do is you want to include the number of questions. So now let's say, for example, the number of questions here is 2. I'm going to click on 2. Your number of questions could be 10, it could be 30, it could be 50, it could be 100, depending on you as the teacher, right? So the next thing you want to fill is the time limit of tests. Now, before filling the time limit of tests, you should note that in eSchool, we only enter our time duration in minutes. Enter your time duration in minutes. If your exam is for 2 hours, you convert it into minutes, which is 120 minutes, right? And then it goes like that. So the next thing you want to do is you want to impute your class that you want the students to take the test for. I'm going to click on year 10, that's click on the class, and I'll click on 10, which is the level. So once I'm done clicking on the class and the level, I'm going to impute the subject. I'm going to click on English because this is an English examination. I'm going to select the term and I'm going to select the academic year. Once you're done filling all these fields, you're going to click on submit. Click on submit, you would see where you can download your Excel templates, right? So I'm going to click on a question Excel template to download it. So once I click on that, that should download into your laptop, and then I will click on open. So once I click on open, I would see my school name, I will see the address, I will see my school details, right? You will see your school CBT questions Excel template. You will see this, right? You will see all this in your Excel sheet. Now this is very important, right? You can see this part that says test ID. eSchool generates test ID for every Excel sheet that you download. For every sheet that you're going to download in your CBT, you're going to be given a unique test ID. And you want to ensure that you're not removing the test ID because the test ID is very important. But whatever test ID the system generates for you, please ensure that you leave it like that. Ensure that you don't remove it, you don't delete it, or you don't add anything to it, you don't change it, leave it the way it has been, right? So you leave your test ID like this. You want to input your questions. See this part that says questions, you want to type in or you want to upload or copy your questions into this particular part. So now my questions can be, I'm going to input my questions. What is it now? What is it now? So once you are done typing this, right, once you are done inputting all your questions, you want to ensure that you input all the questions that you have for this particular subject into this part, right? The Excel sheet is enough for you to input as many questions as you have in your school or you want to upload into the portal, right? So questions here. So once you are done inputting all your questions, you move to the next one that says correct answers. So you want to fill your correct answer in this particular place. You're going to fill this in this particular order, right? So you're going to input your correct answer in this particular space. I'm going to come down to this part that says how many parts of speech do we have. So I'm going to put the correct answer here. So once I put the correct answer here, so once you're done including your correct answers, you want to move to the next one, which says you have to input the wrong option 1, right? You should have your correct answer, you should have the option B, option C, and you should have the option D. And one thing you need to note is that you don't need to worry about the arrangement of how it is right now. So in case you don't want, you as a teacher, you don't want all your correct answers to be in option A. You don't need to worry about that because the system is going to shuffle it itself, right? You need to worry about shuffling it, right? So once you are done inputting all this, you can also decide to input a correct answer explanation. That is, if you want as a teacher, it is optional. You can decide to leave your sheet like this and save it like that. But then in case you want your students to see the correct answer explanation, you can decide to explain the correct answer. So once you are done typing out or uploading the questions that you have, you want to save the Excel sheet, right? So I'm going to save this sheet. So once you are done saving it, you have to head back to the portal, right? So I'm going to go back to the portal. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to upload these questions into the portal, right? Now, to upload the questions into the portal, you have to come down to this part that says add new questions, right? You want to come down to this part that says add new question. Don't forget, the first thing we did was we created a new test. Creating a new test is more like creating like a test title for questions that you want to upload into the portal. And to upload these questions, you have to click on add new questions. So I'm going to click on add new questions. So when I click on add new questions, I'll see the same options that I saw when I was adding new tests. Don't forget, this is add new question, right? So you can either add the questions individually. Don't forget, whatever you pick when you were adding new tests, it is the same thing you're going to pick when you're adding new questions. If you picked add new tests in batch, right, you should not upload your questions individually. You should upload your questions in batch because that is what you created a test ID for that particular question type. So you want to ensure that you're also using the same question type to upload your questions, right? So I'm going to click, so once I click on add new questions, I'm going to come down to this part that says add batch questions because that is what I used when I was creating a new test, right? So once I click on add batch questions, I'll see this part that says choose file. So I'm going to click on choose file and I'm going to upload that particular document that I saved on my system into the portal, right? So you should see the document saved and then you click on open. When you click on open, you click on submit. So once you click on submit, you will see new questions added, right? So it means the questions that have been uploaded into the sheet have been added into the portal, right? So now to check if your questions have been added, you come down to this part that says manage questions, right? Manage questions allow you to see the questions that you've added into the portal, right? Manage test allows you to see the tests that you've created in the portal, right? So I'm going to click on manage questions. Manage questions. So when I click on manage question, I should see the questions that I typed in the Excel sheet in this part, right? Now, if you notice, I can see it here. The first thing I'm seeing here is what is in now, which is what I created in the Excel sheet, what I typed exactly into the Excel sheet. I can see the test name, which is first time examination. I can see the class year 10. I can see the session, right? And then I can also see the second question that I created, which is how many parts of speech do we have? I can see the question here. I can see the test name. I can see the class and I can see the session, right? Manage test, like I mentioned earlier, allows you to see the test that you created in the portal, right? I'm going to click on manage test and see this particular test. This was a particular test I created. I created a first time examination. English was the subject for year 10. The session, I created 2 questions for it. And then I also gave it a 30 minutes time limit, right? So manage test allows you to manage and allows you to see the tests that you created into the portal, right? So now the next thing you want to do is you want to come down to this status, right? Automatically, the system opens the questions to your students once you've uploaded the questions, right? But if you don't want to open the questions to your students, let's say you have a particular time you as the teacher, you want your students to take the examination, right? But then you've uploaded these questions before the particular date they will take the question. You can just come down to status and close the particular test that you've created, right? So I'm going to log into my students' dashboard to see how they can take the test. Alright, so I've logged into my student dashboard, and then this is how the student portal looks like. So once your students have logged into their portal and they are ready to take the CBT test, they come down to this part that says computer-based test. So I click on computer-based test. The two options they will see is start test and CBT results, right? So I'm going to click on start test because I want to attempt a test that has already been set. So this is the test I created, right? So I'm going to click on take test because I want to attempt this test as a student, right? If you notice, you can see the time taken. It is already counting in minutes because this particular test was set for 30 minutes, right? And I can see question 1, which is what is a noun. So I'm going to click on, let's say this is my answer. I'm going to click on a naming word, and I'll click on next. Right, I can see question number 2. How many part of speech do we have? Right, so let's say my answer is 6, and I was supposed to click on next, but because there are only 2 questions, I cannot click on next. So it means that this is the last question. So what I'll just do is I'm going to submit my answers. So once I submit my answer, it will ask me, are you sure to submit this exam? And I'll click on yes. So once I click on next, it says, thank you for participating for this session. I'm going to see my test results immediately, right? So now I can see the particular test. I can see my score that I scored 1 out of 2, which means I have 50%, right? To show me the date and the time I took this particular test, right? So now, like I mentioned initially, if a teacher inputs the correct answer explanation, your students can be able to view their corrections. And then when they view their correction, they will see in this part that says a correct answer explanation, showing an explanation to what they feel. So I can see my results immediately. So this is how you can set up your questions. You can upload your CBT questions, and then this is also how your students will take these questions, and then this is also how you would see your results immediately. So it is very, very fast. It's very easy to use. All you just need to do is to ensure that as a teacher you upload the test or the exam successfully. Ensure that you upload it in the right way, you upload the right results, you upload the correct answers, and then that way you are good to go. Let us know if you enjoyed watching this video, and we'll also see you in our next video again. Thanks for watching. Bye.